Yo guys, what's going on? This is Explosive Chris here from Union Arena HQ, coming at you with another video. Today we have here, what's your name?
My name's Tanner.
And Tanner, what did you do today?
So today I competed in the Union Arena main events. Yep.
Very good, very good. And what place did you come?
I went 7-1, I got 4th place.
4th place, great. And you piloted Kurapika?
Yep, green Kurapika. Yep.
Great. So we're about to give you guys his deck profile and he's about to break it down for you guys.
Zay here from Union Arena HQ. Chris had to go take a break, so I'm here to run the deck profile down with you. Tanner, can you begin?
Yeah, for sure. So first thing we're gonna do is just get this out of the way here. We're playing 4 of our final triggers here, just the Hunter's License, and then we're playing 4 of the specials, nothing too new there.
Standard.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff. We're gonna go top to bottom with the rest of it, if that's all right. So let's start with the 0 cost. So I'm playing 3 copies of Satos, 4 copies of Kurapika, and then 4 copies of Zapile here. 11 0 cost.
So you played 11 zeros? How did you feel about that amount of zeros?
So I've done a lot of the math behind like how many zeros you should play and just making sure you have a hand that's not going to brick. And 11 is totally fine, especially if you play a 1-drop. The more 1-drops you play, the more likely you are to not brick when you play like 11 zeros, and it's fine.
Okay. So for the 1-drop, what 1-drop did you go with?
So my go-to for the 1-drop is I was looking for something that's going to provide value to the deck. Playing a 1-drop that doesn't have value, you're better off playing more zeros. So I played 3 copies of the Melody just because it provides the energy on the front line. You get the active trigger off of it as well. And it can be a pretty good early swinger to get some early damage in.
So with Melody, you chose not to go with the bounce card that's standard in most IPs. Why did you choose Melody over that besides getting energy on the front line?
I was thinking about the bouncer Leorio that does the 2 energy, but instead I decided to go with the Melodies and the Neteros in place of that. Just because I feel like in this game it's a lot more important to be building your board with. So whenever you play a bouncer, you're voluntarily clearing something off of your board. Even if you have like a good on-play effect like Zapile, you are still going negative on board with. And that's going to lead to you losing extra damage, especially against like those aggro decks like Red Code Geass, where you want to contest with on the front line.
Got it. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, so then after those, this is kind of our, early curve through the game, energy generation. Rounding out our like early curving through the games, we have a few of the 2-cost Kurapikas. They're active triggers. They can come up as an impact 1 every now and then. 3K is a nice body, but we just need a few more cards to curve out the early to get into our top deck tier.
And you're okay? You wouldn't play 4 of that?
I wouldn't mind 4 of that, but there was just other cards that I would prefer to play more copies of before that, like the 2 Neteros, like playing 3 Melodies rather than playing like 2 copies of this or something like that.
This just gave you more consistency playing 3, right?
Exactly, yep. The way I kind of look at it is, if I want to see it some games, I play 2 copies. If I want to see it 1 every game, I'll play 3. If I want to see multiple a game, I'll play 4 of it. So I'm fine seeing 1 of these every game, so I play 3 of it. But then after that, so we got to get into our top end somehow. This isn't enough to get us up to our 5-7 energy costs. So then we go into our like double energy curves. So for our double energy curves, of course, we're playing the 4 Kurapikas. They're raid targets, they're 4K swingers, and then we play the Boschas as well. The energy doubler step has an active trigger. It's just a very well statted card. And this is kind of supposed to get us up to that 5 energy threshold and serve like some use in other matchups. Like the Boschos serve a decent amount of use in like the Rush, like the Red Kiosk matchup, stuff like that.
And how many times did you actually utilize the step? Was it kind of just sitting there in the back row, or maybe you were a little aggressive with it and then slid it back, or you just didn't want to take that risk? Like, how did that perform for you?
It definitely depends on the matchup. So like against Purple Code Geass, right? When I played Purple Code Geass, I would play this guy in the back line just because a 3K body is pretty easy for them to bounce. So I always just say, I'm not going to run the risk. If you're bouncing it, I'll take the damage, play it back line. But against stuff like Sukuna, I'd play it front line so they couldn't get early pokes in with like their Nobaras and stuff. If they want to bounce it, they have to like commit a full card, whether it's their special, whether it's using a UG bounce if they actually want to remove it. And I'm okay with taking that trade.
No, I think that makes sense, right? Just having that situational awareness of knowing what you're up against and what they can do, and then kind of building your board accordingly.
Yeah, you definitely kind of got to play it by ear. Just go with the flow, go with the matchup on it. Then after that, to round up our energy doublers here, and we're playing 4 copies of the Neon.
So 4 neons. So you want to see multiple of this a game.
Yes, I ideally want to play 2 neons every single game. The card is just so good. It's very well statted. It's 5 energy, so we have to play all of this to get to our neons. But once you're starting to play neons, it feels like you're really in your top end, you're in your late game mode. Because playing the neon means you're going to be at 7, so you can start playing your 7s. But the way I look at this card is you're playing 1 action point for a 2 energy body. That's the first action point. The second action point draws you a card, but it's not just any card, it's one of the top 4, and then it immediately plays it out as active. Because it plays out a card from deck rather than from your hand, it serves as a draw 1, play 1, and plays it as active. It does 3 things with that second AP. So to me, Neon is just the MVP of the deck. It saved me so many games. It helps me filter, get to my top end. I don't have to draw into it naturally. So for me, 4 Neons is the play.
No, it seems really good, especially if we get to play stuff active or raid on it. I'm seeing that like you play three drop Kurapikas that have the double energy, and then the neons, but they don't have triggers. Did you feel like you had enough triggers?
Sometimes there was definitely some games, like the one game I lost was me just not like hitting any triggers the game. So definitely games like that, it can feel really bad because you have 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You play 13 cards that just don't have a trigger at all, which is quite a bit compared to a lot of the other meta decks. So it definitely comes up, but the trade-off is just having more cards that you're happy to play in your deck. Like there aren't any like inherently bad cards in the deck.
Got it. So just having more good cards rather than trying to stack triggers that may be less impactful cards going forward.
Exactly. I play for the cards in my hand, not the ones in my life. If that makes sense. Yeah, so that's going to be our curve. This is how we're starting to get into our top end. And then to start off our top end, I play 2 of the Leorios and 2 of the Hisokas. So these are going to be our non-Kurapika top ends. They're just good bodies. They're not raids, because every time that you raid, you're just voluntarily losing a body on board. So having some top end other than the raid Kurapikas to be able to play and put pressure and bait out, whether it's Yuji bouncers, whether it's power of absolute obedience, like getting stuff out of your opponent with non-raids is really, really good for early game. And especially being able to play them off Neon as active, they're just really good value cards. Both of them have a pay AP activate main that essentially just means that you're going to draw a card at the very least. So I look at the pay activate mains as a glorified AP draw, where I'm paying an AP to draw a card at the end of my turn rather than the start, but then I also guarantee a damage with this one, and I guarantee that they have to remove a body with this one. So I get a lot of value out of both of these cards. They put in a lot of legwork today, especially in those like turns 4, turn 5, where I'm trying to wait on my raid Kurapikas until there's a good play for them.
That makes a lot of sense, especially when you're going into matchups and like your Neon is able to play those active, which kind of makes those as pseudo raids that you're not losing card advantage for. And then they also force your opponent to kind of go negging card advantage.
Exactly. Like you just get, especially with the Neon, they combo so well. If you play a Neon at 2, 3 AP up still, you just play this out, and then you have the option of playing like another 5 cost from your hand or paying for this to get an extra AP draw. They're just so versatile. You get a lot of value of them, and the Neon giving them coming into the play active it's just really good. You get the raid effects without having to actually read them. So that's going to be the non-Kurapika top end. And then the rest of the deck is just your pretty standard playing 4 of the color triggers and 4 of the raids. These cards are life sends. Just the on play and on attack getting to filter the top card of your deck just gives this deck so much extra consistency, especially when you like use one of these abilities and then you play this, so you get to make sure you're drawing a good card. You get to choose essentially the type of card you draw. Not exactly, but you get to make sure it's not a bad card inherently and put it to the bottom. Or you can leave something like this or one of your specials on top for the next turn. So you know that, okay, next turn, whatever they do to my board with this stuff, I have the answer ready. So these just get a lot of value throughout the entire game. Being an impact body as well is so nice for pushing like damage through in the late game. And then yeah, the raid Kurapika needs no introduction. Amazing card, super overstated. Snipe impact 1, 5,000 BP blocker. It's really good.
No, I really like this list. What it does as well, you're able to have those 8 cards, the 2 Hisokas, the Leorio, and the 5-drop Kurapikas that can come in active off Neon and provide a lot of pressure that your opponent have to answer before you even get to your 7 drops, which are really game ending, right? Being able to have snipe impact. So
Exactly. Getting to play these off of the Neon is just so good. You get to play something, you get to filter your top deck, and then if you're playing a Neon, you're at the 6 energy requirement. So you also get to swing Impact 1 on that turn with the Kurapikas. These provide so much more value to like just getting to play around with these and the Neons and just deal damage as easily as possible between these, between like your early free swings with the melodies. Is just really, really nice. So you can just sit back and hold these and play a very passive waiting game for eventually they're gonna do something, they're gonna remove stuff, you get their removal out, and then you answer it with these, and then suddenly they have to have another removal to deal with your 5k bodies. And you just get to close out the games pretty consistently once you start to set up.
no, again, really solid list. Is there any final words or shout outs?
I guess don't sleep on Kurapika. I know we've got a lot of new toys coming out between the Demon Slayer set, between Code Geass. Everyone loves playing Code Geass, Blue JJK. But Kurapika still has a lot of legs, and I think that a lot of people are still underestimating it and not giving it the value that it deserves. So still give Kurapika a shot.
All right, thank you so much.